listening to Xposed Living, Be Ageless, the podcast where we drop the masks, flip the script, and talk real life, real love, and real leadership unfiltered. I'm Stacey Vanthuyne, coach, speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of the Xposed Living movement that's redefining what it means to live, lead, and grow at any age. We talk identity, reinvention, belief, and freedom from the bedroom to the boardroom. Yes, we go there. This is not about staying young. This is about waking up. So if you're done with the shoulds and craving more fun, more freedom, more truth, more you, then grab your favorite drink, your bestie, maybe your journal. It's time. Let's get exposed. Maybe go a little bit longer minutes.
Okay.
I always finish with some fun ageless signature question. Those are easy ones. Like, yeah, just like quick, like, what's it called? Like shotgun stuff. I got your thing up here, so you should take a picture of those so I can post it after. I always forget. Smile. Perfect. Put it on my stories. Make sure I know Vasseur. Your last name?
Vasseur, yeah.
Vasseur?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you French?
I am French.
Mm. Where did you grow up?
In Bonnyville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Isn't there a French community there?
Yeah. So when we were growing up, it was about like a little over 3,000. And it was pretty much a third English, a third Ukrainian, and a third French.
Oh.
And yeah, so there's a huge Francophone community there.
Is there a school French?
Now there is. When I was going to school, I went to school in French, but it was all within the same system.
Okay.
And now they have their own school board and stuff. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they have like 2 elementaries, 2 high schools?
There's 3. There's a
In
public
Bonnyville.
school, there's public school, Catholic school, and the French school.
Wow. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah. It's well, and now, like with surrounding areas, it's probably closer to 9,000.
Okay.
So,
yeah. All the other ones. Up until what place? Like I go through Bonnyville. Wait a second. Bonnyville, I'm thinking of the wrong place. Bonnyville's far, like 3 hours from here, right?
Yeah, it's like 2.5. It's on the way to Cold Lake. So if you know where Cold Lake is, yeah.
I've been to Bonnyville once. Actually, I'll tell you a story because do you have Indigenous roots?
I don't know.
Okay.
Or not that I know of.
I mean this with love. So that's why I thought, I was like, I better not share. So when I first moved to Edmonton, it was like in the early thousands. I was like 26, 27. And I was working at ATB. And I had met a girl from ATB that lived in Bonnyville. So I was going to go visit her one weekend. So I was driving there, and it was the first time I was so shocked because on the road, like they must go through a reserve or something, but said, slow down pedestrians on highway. And I remember going, huh? Like, I was like, what? Like, no deer, no nothing, pedestrians on highway. And I was just like, only a number.
Yeah. I know. My cousins, when they would come down, they're like, this still every time. It makes us laugh. And I'm like, yeah, but it's true.
So it's not only me.
No. Okay. But they're out there because they're hitchhiking home or they're,
Yeah.
They know if they go on to, there's like 3 routes. Like, well, we're surrounded by reserves. Not surrounded, like in a bad way, but there's probably 4 bigger ones around us. And so there's a few roads leading to them where they just go from town and they just know that one of their buddies is going to pick them up. So they're walking towards the reserve, just waiting to get picked up by one of their buddies. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
I thought it was so weird. I was like, I think I stopped and took a picture of it. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I got to show my friends in Ottawa this. Like,
yeah. That's funny.
I'm just writing down my first question here. I have a different question listed here, but I want this one first to start us. Spelling so fast. Do you have a busy rest of your day?
I have to do GST and all that. This is like the last day I have to do the paper. And then and walking my dog, so he's pretty excited. I had to close the blinds so that he can't bark at everything.
Oh, how old your dog?
He's 6.5. Well, he'll be 7 in the summer.
And what is it?
He's a Schnauzer poodle.
Oh,
so he's just like, he's super cute.
And he's one of those like hairless ones or furless or whatever, or
No, he's not
anti-hypoallergenic or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, there's always some, but that's why we got him. Like, I'm a big dog lover.
Okay.
Like, I grew up with big dogs, but they were out back then. Like, dogs didn't really live inside, especially in the country, and so, so I only discovered, like, in my adult life that I'm actually allergic to most dogs, and so we got little Baxter.
Aww.
But then, my parents, I'll watch their chocolate lab, because we always had chocolate labs, so they still have one, and so Sadie comes and lives with me when they leave town or they go on their holidays, and so I like pop the antihistamines and I
have her run over or give her over. Okay, Karina, let's go do this. I'm gonna cover myself up. Okay, I'll welcome you in, and then we'll roll. Welcome back to Xposed Living, Be Ageless. I'm your host, Stacey Vanthuyne, and today's conversation is one that might hit a little closer to home, literally, because we're talking about something many people experience but don't often talk about: clutter, overwhelm, and what's really going on underneath it. My guest today is Christine Vasseur, a decluttering and downsizing coach and the founder of Clear Method. She helps people create calm, functional spaces in their homes. But what I've come to learn is that this work goes far beyond what you see on the surface. Because when we talk about what we hold on to physically, we're often talking about what we're holding on to emotionally. Christine, welcome to Xposed Living.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Let's just jump right into it. You shared that anxiety has been part of your journey. How did you first start to notice the connection between your environment and how you were feeling internally?
In my 30s, I had an episode where, my whole life I struggled with anxiety, and in my 30s it kind of came to a head. And it's kind of where I decided to take the time to realize what was happening in my surroundings. And I noticed that when my home was clean, I was able to sleep. I was able to relax. And so I kind of just always lived that way after that. It wasn't, I just, I just lived that way. And I realized that it was really a big part of my mental health and how I could keep the anxiety down. And, because when we're looking at our stuff, and it's visual noise. And so for some of us, that visual noise is deafening.
Yeah. Really, thanks for sharing. We often think that clutter is just about stuff, but from your experience, and what is clutter really about?
Clutter is, first of all, my clutter and your clutter are not the same.
Right.
If you look behind me, and I kind of picked this as my background because for some this is too much. For some, they think you're an organizer and you have a shelf full of with their rocks. But clutter isn't the same for everybody. And so clutter is really essentially anything that doesn't serve you. And so for different people, that means different things. So I kind of lost track of the question, but
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's important. It's just like, it's like some people you probably, I'm imagining, is it a tricky balance? Because what you may see as just clutter, someone has such significant emotional importance to it. And is that how
so when I'm dealing with my clients and we're talking about it, they're leading the charge. And so they're telling me, and so I never go in to judge what they have. you can walk into somebody's house and think they live in a sterile environment because there's nothing in there. Or you can come into my house and feel like I'm cluttered, or I can go into my client's house and feel, like that word hoarding comes up a lot. Oh, my parents are hoarders. Most of the time they're not. Hoarding is a completely different ball of wax. But so when we're talking about clutter and how it affects us, when we have things in our home that don't serve us, we're constantly reminded of it. Or something that has bad memories, but we're holding on to it because it's something our parents gave us or our grandparents gave us. So everything has an energy to it. And whether you believe that that energy is physically in the object or in the memory that it gives, it has an energy to it. And so that's what we kind of try to deal with. To clear a home is to clear out all of the negative and all of the energy that's bringing us down. And so we can't live our true selves, and we can't live clearly with all the excess.
I love that. We often say our outside world's a reflection of how we feel on the inside. So often if our environment is cluttered or messy or whatever the case may be, that it is a reflection. I mean, I look at my office sometimes and I'm like, and I know this. I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm struggling. Or it'll take, they struggling, but what would take, or I would think would take a half an hour, might take longer because of the stuff around. You don't even realize if I just took 10 minutes to kind of tidy it up, like the world, the universe works in an orderly fashion, right? So it's just like order.
Yeah. And I mean, my home, I always use this as an example because my home at the end of a summer, and I say summer because we're Alberta and we live in the summer. We live for these like beautiful days like we had yesterday, for example, and we live for them. And so at the end of a summer, like I'm not concentrating on keeping my home perfect. Absolutely not. Because I'm not usually in the house. I'm usually outside in my garden or barbecues or camping or what I mean. And so you get back in the house in that September, mid-September, school starting. So you start going back to that routine. And then I'm like, oh, this has gotten out of hand, but I've created systems in my home. And that's kind of the ultimate goal is you create the systems. And so I can go through my whole house and have it completely set back to that reset within hours because everything truly does have a spot. And there is systems in place that I know work for me and for the family. And so, and that's always a balance too when you have family and other people, because most of us live with other people. There's a balance of what works for everybody in the home.
Yeah. Let's go a little deeper because you were talking about people and things that they hold. And do you find that a lot of people will attach a part of their identity into the thing or some of their belongings?
Yes and no. I think why we tend to hang on to things is because we fear losing the memory. And so they may be attached, not necessarily the identity, but the memory. And holding on to that item doesn't mean that we're going to keep that memory alive. I mean, we had a really good friend growing up, a friend of the family, and he was his singer and he played all the instruments. And so every time he came over, he would play for us and it would be beautiful. And I didn't keep any of Art's things. Like he used to give me little gifts and I never kept any of his things. About 2 weeks ago, we were out at an event. It was a house concert, which I thought I've never been to one, but I was raised in it, I guess. And it brought back so many memories. And so it kind of made me realize again, like that reaffirming that we don't need that physical item. We're not going to forget. It's there, it's in us, and it's who we are. And so it's to really find that balance. What am I holding on to this for? Is it because I don't want to lose the memory? Or is it because I actually love it and need it?
So good. So I'm curious, when you say you have a clear method, is there a method? Like, do you take people through a systematic approach or how do you do this?
Well, so when I named the company, I liked both of the words. All of the teachings that I did, it came up a lot. And I used to think, there's a clear method. But now I'm realizing that method part is now become the method of what works for my client.
Mm-hmm.
There's no home, there's no person, nobody is identical. And so the stories are different, the method is different. And, we pivot or we go straight. And, I giggle with myself because I had to kind of reinvent what that word meant to the company.
Yeah.
So basically now, because I really did, because for me, there's that method.
Yeah.
Like, I know how it works for me, but my way for me doesn't work for everybody. And so that method becomes what works for the individual client.
Cool. So if someone listening is feeling overwhelmed right now in their space, what's one small thing that you would recommend they do? Or a thing?
Well, first we need to stop thinking that because we've let our houses become cluttered, that we've failed. Life happens. And it's this belief we have. I talk to people all the time about stop blaming. You're not a failure. You're actually actively doing something. You brought me in. You're actively doing something. And what I would tell you, start small. So if it feels completely overwhelming, start small. Like literally a drawer in the kitchen. Or if we're starting in the bedroom, then it's the nightstand. That's where I tell people to start, is in the nightstand, because it's the last thing you see when you go to bed. And it's the first thing that you see in the morning when you wake up. And so that's really that recharge.
Really cool. I always say, we have the vacuum law, and you can only, so many people want more in their life without ever letting go of something, right? So we try to keep squishing everything in, and we wonder why our life's not changing, why it still seems so busy, so mixed up. And it's like, one of my, I don't know if I call it a dirty secret, but I love clothes. And my closet will be bursting, right? And I know that it's so important to go through. And as you say, we're getting into springtime and it's people in the winter. I'm not sure if it's like this, if you guys are hot all year. So make sure if you live in a place where you're hot all year, like when do you do your spring and fall cleanup? Because I know in the place where there's seasons, it's almost like spring close out, fall close in, spring out. But it was really interesting because I associated a lot when I started to increase my awareness around like this lack. Like, why am I holding on to something that I haven't even worn in like 3 years? It's like, well, maybe just in case I need. But it was taking up space that could eventually be space for something of new. And so it was interesting. I have to go through my wardrobe, and I literally, that's why I asked the question around identity, is I ask myself, does this shirt, pants, sweater fit old you, new you, like becoming you? What is it? And even if I really like it, it's time to give away. And it's amazing how good it feels when you kind of go through that.
Well, I think we're a product of generations, right?
Yeah.
And so we know, as Gen Xers, we know. And so, like, our grandparents lacked. Most of our grandparents were in the 30s and through the war, and so they lacked. And then our parents, like, I would say even like for my grandma, she collected a lot. And she had these beautiful collections. And then, so that kind of carries on. And so my mom is starting to, so there was that belief that stuff meant wealth.
Yeah.
And so the more you have, the wealthier you are.
Right.
And so now I think as a generation, and the millennials and the Gen Z, I guess they are. I don't know my generations, but we're now going back to let's have less, because there's so much more to life than the stuff. The stuff isn't showing us wealth anymore, because it's so, now we've gone to a point where you go on Amazon or you go on Temu and you're just ordering all this stuff. It's so easy to get, right? Whereas generations past, it was harder to get. So it truly did show that wealth. And as far as like holding on to the clothes and holding on, you're probably not holding on to the cheaper items. You're probably holding on to the ones that you've spent money on, because we've spent money on it. So a lot of times we're holding on to things because we've spent money to get them. But holding on to them, you're not getting your money back.
Oh,
and it's only taking from you. It's taking up space.
right.
And I will tell you, the release of it is great. So when you get to that point where, okay, I'm getting this out, I'm clearing this, the future is ahead of me, knowing that it's going to somebody that needs.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, when it's beautiful dresses, there's so many organizations, we can donate to shelters, we can donate to even the Goodwills. Like, there's so much good happening with these donation places. There are people that still absolutely need what we don't need anymore.
Yeah.
And so there's that, it's a ripple, and it feels good on many levels.
I 100% agree with that. It's something that I'm excited to do when I think of giving it away to somebody. It's very hard if I just like throwing it out, but I know that that's a money paradigm, to your point. And I think exactly, I think that we are in this situation now as Gen X where we have enough. In fact, we probably, if we have children, are saying we have too much, right? I remember one time of going, are you kidding me? There's only me and my daughters. We live in a big home, and am I outgrowing my home because of all this stuff, especially when they're kids with all their toys? Like, how many Barbies did they really need? Right now it's how many hoodies do we need? But it was like switching this year was very intentional. Even over Christmas we went to Mexico because it was now about gathering experiences and recognizing that there's so much more than material wealth, as you say.
Absolutely.
And really enjoying the experience so that we don't just start to hold on to these things because we want to, I don't know, be the person with the most hoodies on the block. I don't know.
Yeah. I got a hoodie for all occasions. Yeah.
We joke about it, but there's some truth.
Yeah. And it's just interesting. And so, like, even in my home, and I will say, when we're in partnerships, and I learned a lot when I moved here, in partnerships, we don't all live at the same level, right? What's clutter and what's not. And so there's a lot of, in all relationship, there's the compromise. And when we have kids and they have everything, because we don't want them to be the kids without.
Yeah.
And so that's us projecting, like, if we're going to get really deep into that, it's us projecting what our parents and what their parents projected onto them. Right. And so, yeah.
I love that conversation because we used to talk about it around decision making, right? Our kids, like how have we not been brought up to make decisions? And I was sharing in one of my courses one time around if you're a parent and your child comes downstairs, let's say, and they're so excited for their first day of school, or maybe it's daycare or something, and they dress themselves. But in dressing themselves, they have unmatched socks. And so you're like, we've got matched socks. Like, go put on like 2 pairs of socks that are the same, right?
Yeah.
And then they do, and we're like, applaud them for matching their socks when they were just showing their authenticity, but whatever the case may be, we do. The next day they come down, and instead of wearing those new jeans you bought them for school, they're wearing the ripped ones from the summer. And you're like, we don't want to think people don't like that we don't have money for clothes. Like, go change your pants, right? So they go change pants. Third day, they come down in their pajamas, and you're like, why aren't you dressed?
Yeah, because I don't make the right decisions.
Right. And it's all of that was them putting on what felt good for them.
Yeah.
And we as parents, we're so well intended. That's where you say it runs so deep.
Yeah.
That our intent is, well, we don't want them to be teased, or we don't want people to think of this. And then we're also the same people as when I turned 40, I didn't give a shit what people thought. Well, then don't make your kids. Right. Yeah. But it's interesting that you go down that path. I also found it was interesting. I want to bring it back up around the shame, because I often talk about money and sex and how we have the shame and guilt from growing up around it. And I never thought of how there's this shame and guilt that if my house isn't in a certain order, then that makes me not someone that takes care of things or is organized.
Yeah. And that's a conversation that mostly women will talk to me about. I work with a beautiful couple, and that was her dialogue, is that she's failed her family. And, you know, like the circumstances, I mean, I don't have to get into the circumstances, but the circumstances, she had a lot of stuff. They had a lot of stuff just hit them.
Yeah.
And then chaos ensued. And so, you know, it's that same conversation. You know, you have to break that thought. You have to break. But I mean, we both know about the belief systems that we have and where we get them from. And I think in my case, I mean, all of my belief system came from growing up with people who absolutely loved me and did everything they could to protect me. And so a lot of those come from their fear. Like, I don't want people to think that we don't have jeans or no money because your jeans are ripped and you're not wearing the new ones. And so it's kind of nobody's doing it to intentionally harm. And so we just, you know what I mean? Like, we just have to grow from them. We have to release those thoughts that we have, because really these belief systems, and you know, like if we take the extreme hoarding cases, which I personally don't deal with, but there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of everything that's happened in the past. And so these beliefs, like truly believing that these little pieces of paper or whatever it is that they collect are so valuable. And the more you have, the more money, the more you have, the richer you are.
Yeah, you know, and I also think of people that were brought up being told, "Oh, you're so messy," right? And then you start to just believe you are. You're just like, "Oh, I'm just messy,"
that's who I am.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm the type of person, especially that has a shiny ball syndrome at times, that I find if I go into a room and it's really like blown up, it almost becomes overwhelming. So do you find different people? Because it's almost like, for me, even making supper, for example, I have to clean as I go.
Yeah.
And it otherwise, or like make sure before I go to bed, all the dishes are done or something. That's why I come downstairs to a clean kitchen in the morning, because it's something that I want to start my day fresh. And
absolutely.
So do you see these types of habits or thoughts with the people that you work with, and even yourself? Like, what has it taught you about yourself?
Oh, I'm definitely the clean house, and my morning coffee, I can't look in a dirty kitchen. And so I laugh because I'm not one that loves doing dishes. So when in my old previous home, during the reno, everybody's like, "Oh, you should just break down that wall." I'm like, "No." Because if I'm too tired and I haven't put my dishes in the dishwasher, if I haven't done that step, I can't relax. And so I don't want to see that. So it's silly. But yeah, no, I have learned a lot about that for myself. And when I'm in an environment, I mean, even when I'm busy, like right now, I have a bunch of pottery behind me because I also do pottery, and I'm going to be in a pottery sale. And so right now my office has become kind of a overwhelming zone because it's all right there.
Factory.
Yeah. You know, but those are realities of life. And so it's really like, we can be people that don't like having all the stuff and it becoming too much visual noise for us. But life does happen. And so it will happen. It'll continue to happen. And there's no magic solution. I mean, even if you were to hire somebody like myself or another organizer, you still have to put in that work to keep it at bay.
Yeah.
So,
and I love what you're saying. I don't think it's like anything around it. It's not that you have to be perfect all the time. Then when you start doing that, you're adding that extra pressure.
Yeah.
But it's more around, if you're finding that you're not able to optimally perform, or your home isn't somewhere that like allows you to feel relaxed or expressive, then what can you do in your surroundings that can help that? Because again, outside world is truly a reflection of our inside world. And sometimes it helps by changing the environment to really start to initiate that expansion of beliefs, let's say, or that change in identity, that, oh, you know what, I'm not actually a messy person, or this isn't reflective of my worth.
No, life just got busy. Life happens.
Yeah.
And it happens to all of us, and it happens differently, and our reactions are different. And it's,
It made me laugh when you said about the summer, because we would always go to the lake. And so we're just like, Fridays packing up, go to the lake, Mondays come home, drop, quick exchange of clothes. Yeah, like there gets to a point in the middle of the summer where I think I have more food out at the lake than I do at my home, because we're just coming and going and passing and
absolutely
going. And that's what we say too. Like, we want it to be comfortable, the house, because I've also been into homes that are so uber clean that that's also not a comfort for them. It's an obsession around that.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
like finding this balance.
It's like that control. They need to have that control on everything. Yeah. No, it is. There's that balance. And it's just, when you're going through your home, like I would invite you, when you're going through your home, if it's, think like if there's an object or something that you're just like, oh, try it in a different space. Because if you kind of like the item or you like that memory and you want to keep it, but it just feels off, put it in another spot. There's so many tricks that we can do. I mean, we've done it here in my home where it's stuff that's his and not mine. And so we just we find spots for my stuff and his spot that kind of works for all of us, in that sense. And so I think like that important message is that our energy is important. And do we want to spend the energy focusing on what isn't working? Or, those items or that clutter? Because
away.
Really, like, as entrepreneurs, we want to be clear and our vision clear, and, it's holding us back. Mm-hmm. It's putting us back because it's behind. It's in our to-do list, mm-hmm. And that thing that's constantly running. And so where do we want to be? I want to live clear, and so that's kind of my mission. I really do believe it. I really believe that, like, that sky's the limit when it comes to our potentials. And I think that if we eliminate all that doesn't serve us, then we can start to really live with a clear vision.
Love that. When you're saying eliminate, I in business, I was always in change management. So with the lean, I'm like, just eliminate the muda and get rid of the stuff that doesn't work. Focus on what is, and recognize that it's an evolving. Nothing stays the same. And I think that's where we start holding on to these pieces, hoping that that'll slow down the world. The world's still going to move. Nothing stays the same. So it's really that I love how you said it, that vision of how do I want to live my life? And is my home reflective of that?
Yeah. Is it allowing me to live it?
Yeah. All right, my friend. We're going to shift gears and go into some Xposed Ageless fire round. You ready for me?
I think so.
All right. Thank you for adding the value that you have so far. So I think I know some of these. Clean space or cozy clutter?
Oh, I think it's a combination. But I mean, I don't like the word, like, no clutter. So it would have to be clean space.
Yeah. Right.
But I like cozy.
Yeah. Dive into that. Can it be clean and cozy at the same time?
Absolutely. So for us in this house, I like a lot less stuff. My partner likes a lot of stuff. And I talk about it a little bit, but we both love plants. And I love a cozy home. I love people to feel welcome in my home. And so I have a lot of plants, and some may say I'm a hoarder of plants, but I have a lot of plants, and it kind of creates the cozy and closed in that he needs. And then it gives me that fresh, clean that I need. Yeah.
Growth of the energy. I love it. Are you a morning reset or evening reset?
Not a morning, evening.
Evening.
I'm not a morning person.
That's why you just need your coffee and you're secluded to just wake yourself up.
Everybody knows, leave her alone.
Christine, what's one thing you always keep?
Oh, one thing I always keep. That's a tough one because I'm not sure. What's one thing that I would always keep?
Yeah, is there? Or maybe there's. I don't know if there's an answer for it.
I don't know that there is an answer. I mean, that when the Jasper fires were happening, I would have these conversations with people, and everybody's like, my paperwork, and all these things, and it's like, you can replace it. And like photos, I'm like, well, they've been stored in this thing, and or my phone, because it has everything, and it's like, the people will find me. So it's like something that I would always want to have. I don't think so. I mean, I would be obviously devastated, but I don't know that there is something. I mean, I find,
maybe always a space for I don't know. It sounds like it, but it really is, because we have gone through so much to the keeping things in the cloud and things like that. We don't need the photo books as much as we used to.
Yeah.
It's always so great, but yeah, really separating that.
Yeah. And so I took the question as stuff. You meant stuff, right? Like, what would I keep?
There's no right or wrong. This is an unfiltered, unscripted conversation.
Good. I always go back to stuff in this work. It's always about stuff. So yeah.
It's all good. What about one thing that you let go of that changed everything?
I let go of, this is not stuff. I let go of this belief that following the paths in life that were set out for us was the right way to go. So I let go of that about 5 years ago, and which led to 4 years ago starting up Clear Method and really chartering my own path and figuring this all out. This isn't an easy life. It is now, but entrepreneurship, it takes a lot out of us. And, that vision is, if I think about what I thought about 5 years ago, where I want to be, I'm kind of here right now. And so now it's that next 5 years.
So what is that? What's the vision for Clear Method?
I want to be traveling a lot more.
Yeah? Where's the first place you want to travel?
Oh, I would love to go. It's Maldives or Maldives.
Yeah.
I never know how to pronounce that one, but that's like number one bucket list. It's just beautiful.
Oh, it's so good. What calms you instantly?
What calms me instantly is when I'm at the end of a day, when I'm sitting down and like everything is good and life is good and my dog is with me and we're just like chilling. Just chilling.
Share with me before our final question. What's one habit that helps create clarity?
One habit that helps create clarity. For me, I do brain dumps. And so most mornings I try, especially when I'm feeling kind of anxious and feeling like life is like a lot. I just go in and I write everything out. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of becomes that to-do list. So it's out of your mind, essentially, because now you don't have to worry about forgetting it. It's on a piece of paper.
I love that. And, it's funny, when I was working with my teams, I would create on a piece of paper almost like a, what is it? The wind, the hurricane kind of thing, and do that. And then say, write out everything in your minds. Because a lot of times too, when you start to write it out, you realize there's not that much, but it's swirling, right? So you can't. So once you get it on pen to paper, it causes you to think, and then we can prioritize to move to the next level. So
absolutely
a great tip. And I think that's where start, like with our house, even this is so messy, and we can instantly just pop. And it's like, actually handle this. Put away the clothes. For mine is after a big laundry day with my girls, or the jackets in the winter, the shoes by the door, right? But it's really not. Final question, Christine.
Yeah.
In this season of your life, what does living exposed mean to you?
Being vulnerable. And I think it's a simple answer. I think that's it. Like, I mean, this weekend, I don't tell all the story all the time, but it helps. It helps to really break things down. That vulnerability.
Yeah. I love. Did you have to change that belief, or did you ever have a belief that vulnerability was a sign of weakness? Or have you always been open to be?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of why growing up with that anxiety was kind of repressed. Mm-hmm. Where, like I talked about, it would lead to that 8 days of no sleep. And because it's just,
And so to help with that, because no one heard it on here, if you went multiple days without sleeping, was one of the first things, or a habit that you could tell, because maybe someone's listening to that right now and they find themselves in that season. What would be a tip that you've used for yourself that helps, that maybe you'd share?
Talk. Find somebody to talk about everything to. Because like for me, what helped is when I would talk about it, like I would verbal spewing it out. No, writing it for me wasn't it was to say it out loud, because then I could hear myself. And then you hear the thoughts that you're having. Because those who have suffered with it, that those fears, they're not real. They were something that we've completely made up. And so just like letting it out. I mean, I let it out and I could sleep. Like it was really that beginning. Like I let it out. It was 8 days, let it out, and then I slept. Yeah.
Thank you for everything you shared, Christine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. What I love about what you shared today is that it isn't really about organizing. It's about awareness.
Yeah.
It's about understanding what we're holding on to and giving ourselves the permission to release what no longer serves us. I love how you said it so brilliantly.
Yeah.
Because when we create spaces in our homes, we create space in our lives. To everyone listening, if something in your space feels heavy, like Christine said, it's not that energetic alignment that serves you. There's a good chance something underneath it is asking to be seen. You don't have to do it all of it once.
Right.
Just start somewhere. Start with the drawer in your bedroom.
Yes.
And until next time, this is Xposed Living, Be Ageless. I'm Stacey Vanthuyne. And remember, the edge isn't the end. It's the beginning. Be bold and continue to get exposed. Thank you. Awesome. Way to go, lady.
Yay.
That's it for today's episode of Xposed Living, Be Ageless. But this is just the beginning. If this episode made you feel something, share it. Tag me. Send it to a friend. Let's start the conversation we can be having all along. No shame, no guilt. Unfiltered, raw, real, exposed. And if you're ready to go deeper, join us inside the Xposed Living Facebook community, where we take this work off the podcast and into real life. Know this, your change starts when your excuses die. Because this life, this one wild, ageless, unforgettable life is waiting on you. This is your time. This is your truth. This is Xposed Living.